break up the family.
Yeah. But I think everyone's like, oh, did parents pressure you and stuff into it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Oh, no, I don't. They didn't actually.
Hi, I'm Dami.
Hey, I'm Teo.
Hi, I'm Felicia.
And you're listening to the DAMIHOW podcast. Hi, Folu. I've realised you normally say your full name whenever you like. So what do you like? Do you like that when you meet people, you say your full name? You just say?
I don't mind. Whichever. People call me whatever they want. Whatever they want, I respond. So it's fine. But a lot of my family and close friends call me Folu. I do introduce myself, full, but it makes a difference to me.
That's cool. But yeah, tell us about yourself. What do you do? Who are you?
I am Felicia. I am a GP in London and also a coach and PT. Do some, I guess, fitness journalism. And yes, I did sports medicine at university as well, so I've got that background as well.
Cool. What made you want to why did you go into sports medicine? Was that something you always wanted? Was it just life just took you there, or was it?
It was something I always wanted. I was like quite one of those sporting school kids. I did netball, I did athletics, did all of it throughout school, got to uni, played netball, started going to the gym at uni. But just like I was just doing random stuff, but I was going to the gym, really enjoyed exercise. And at uni I was doing medicine. I wanted to do into sports medicine and more maybe even surgery. I was quite into the professional side of it. And then I finished medicine and got into hospital working, and I realised I don't like working in hospital. I don't like it.
What made you not like it?
The hours. The hours in primary care are really long, but they're a little bit more social than you're there in the day. Whereas with hospital medicine, you have to be, basically your life is dictated by the rota, and that's weekends and nights and bank holidays, and I just didn't, like, if I didn't have to do that, I wouldn't. So
is it like 10, 12 hours type thing? Or
well, it just depends on the shift. Actually, it's not that long anymore, and even when I'm in primary care now in GP, I probably work from 9 till 7:30 most days when I'm in. So it's a long day, but it's a day. I'm not at night. I'm not working at night and then sleeping all day, and it just didn't suit me.
Just much
and
more
also
control.
I didn't really like surgery. Yeah, it's much more control of your time. And also went to surgery and started helping out, assisting surgery. I didn't like operating either. Didn't like standing up in one place for a long time. I couldn't do it. Like, it made me feel like really tired. So I was like, well, sports surgery's out of the window because I can't stand up in a suit, like in a gown under hot lights. Honestly, it's really hard. They're sitting there operating
ever
all
faint
day.
or something?
I fainted.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people do faint, but honestly, they're doing like hours surgery just standing there. I'm like, so I was like, no, I can't do surgery.
How many surgeries have you actually done?
Oh, I kind of don't know.
Was it like quite a few before you stopped, or?
Well, you do it as part of your rotation. So I do months with working in surgery. So you go in and assist and stuff. So
That's interesting. I didn't know you did surgery.
Well, no, it's part. Yeah, I'm not a surgeon. It's part of training. And I decided not to take it any further.
Fair enough.
But my dad's a surgeon, and I always thought it's a lot harder. I mean, it looks hard, but it's really, even the physicality of just having to stand
it's
and
even
operate.
harder than you expect.
It's harder than you expect. Like, it's harder than you think. It's quite hard. I couldn't do it.
I never took that into consideration, thinking about like, because I know like foods like sitting on the lights like this gets hot as well, but standing up for long hours, they make it look fun and glorified.
Yeah, and they're doing TV. Like they're concentrating.
But it's like very focused.
It's quite, long. And then orthopedic surgery can be quite physical surgery. Yeah. Because sports surgery, because you're often dealing with bones and tendons, so they'll usually like actually like hacking away at stuff and moving stuff. I can't do it. I'm too weak.
Yeah.
So I went into, and then also when I started going to the gym, from there, I guess I started getting more into fitness from a non-professional side. So like started weight training, and then really enjoyed that and the benefits and move more towards actually fitness for like the general population. So that became more of an interest than sports medicine.
Did you consider doing like, did you continue with all the sports that you were doing before, or any
Yes, I continued netball up until like 2 years ago, actually.
Fair enough.
So I played netball throughout uni, and then I played for a local team, like North London regional team, for years, actually.
And that was up until recently?
That was up until just before lockdown.
So it was competing properly, basically?
Yeah, I mean, it's the regional team, so you play in league, so we're playing in a North London team, and I only quit because of all of the other stuff I was doing, because once you're training, like we train like once or twice a week for like 2 hours, and then the matches would be like in Essex or in Uxbridge, so it's like an hour drive, hour warm up, hour match, chat, drive back. It's like 5 hours of my Saturday every week, which was great, but I couldn't keep it up and do
alongside
everything else I started doing,
yeah.
which was the training and the fitness stuff. And I was like, actually, I want to take that forward as well. Irony was I dropped sport to do this, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I got more into the fitness side, like fitness for the general population, exercise for the general population, became more of an interest. So when I went into GP, like in primary care, does it make sense? Like lifestyle medicine is really important in terms of preventing health and treating illnesses as well as preventing illnesses. And then I decided to do the personal training qualification and do some more on the side.
Yeah. So just kind of going back, so when you kind of decided you didn't want to kind of go the surgeon kind of direction, what made you go into general practice?
One, because like a few things. One, because I couldn't really decide 100%. So with general practice, you do get to do a bit of everything. So you see old people, you see kids, you see pregnant women, you see, you know, you do everything.
Yeah.
You have to know a bit of every part of the body, because you're like the gatekeeper to decide what happens now and then where they go to next. So I wasn't really like passionate about like cardiology or gastro. So I was like, I don't really know if I want to commit the rest of my life to one part of the body, if you know what I mean. Two, I didn't really like hospital that much. Still didn't really like it. And I knew a few other people had got into primary care and GP, and they liked it, and you can be a bit more autonomous in terms of like how you practice, where you are, and your hours. You can also have time and flexibility to develop a special interest, like whether it's within medicine or outside of medicine. So I was like, that's probably going to suit me best right now.
Yeah.
And it has. It's worked out. So I think it's allowed me to do more of the other things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Which complement it, but it would have been more difficult with a hospital specialty.
To be able to do the other stuff that you've done. How many years have you been doing that now?
What, medicine or training?
Medicine.
So I finished med school. I finished med school 2011. I've been a GP since 2016. Yeah.
How many years is that now? 8 years?
Am
I counting wrong?
5 years. 6 years being a GP, yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned your dad's a surgeon, right? So is that like the whole family setup right now? Loads of
typical Nigerian. Yeah, it actually is a bit in our family. I think my dad's a surgeon, my mum's a nurse. My sister's a dentist, but my brother did the right thing and went into tech.
Fair. So
okay.
he's
break up the family.
Yeah. But I think everyone's like, oh, did parents pressure you and stuff into it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Oh, no, I don't. They didn't actually. I do think it was a subliminal pressure, not active. But that's what you're exposed to.
Because that's what you're around.
Yeah,
kind of every day.
That's normal.
More of like an influence rather than
a natural influence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I think, and also like, they were friends with other people. They had colleagues.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, that's a normal thing to do.
Are you happy that that's the way things went? Like, could you see yourself doing anything?
Yeah,
different?
it's weird. I do think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know actually.
Because with that being said, obviously you're a doctor, but now you've transitioned also into being a personal trainer. So that's slightly like not a big divide, because it's one thing that complements the other.
Yeah.
But in some ways they're different-ish practices, whereas one prescribes stuff and the other one actively deals with stuff to a degree. So
I actually think they're really similar.
Yeah.
I actually think the jobs are like really similar. It's a lot of communication.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to interact with people, communicate with people. You have to listen. You have to be encouraging, and then it's all really about health underlying, isn't it? So, obviously people want to train for aesthetics or to get bigger, but it's all there's a bit of science behind it all.
There's an undertone of general health beneath everything, basically.
Yeah. And even like when you're working out, there's science behind it. When you're a PT, you know how the body moves, you're looking at the biomechanics, whether they're using the right muscles. So there's a bit of science there underlying it. So I think they're actually quite similar. So I don't find the transition a huge difference. Like I think if I'd gone into, I don't know, media or something, I would have noticed. Yeah, that's completely different. But
so, how long have you been qualified and doing personal training?
How long now? About 3 years.
Good.
2-3 years.
How you been finding that?
Good, interesting. I mean, I think it's something that because I enjoy it, I'm not just doing it. I'm not just doing it for anyone. And I'm doing it to kind of grow my own interest and specialty. I still feel like this is the area I still need to specialize in this, whereas with medicine I've done all that. Yeah. So I'm still like learning. I'm still getting more experience. So I don't feel more of a baby on that side of things and competitive side. But I'm really enjoying it. Got a few doing my online programs, got a few in person now. Trying to do more fitness media stuff as well.
Yeah. And then would you say so you coming from obviously a healthcare background, would you say that impacted you kind of staying within the sports, within the fitness kind of thing? Because I think not a lot of even people that work in healthcare, they don't necessarily always apply it into their own life. So how did it have an impact on you, or was it just something you knew you had to do regardless of working in that field? Or was there things that you've seen that's kind of like motivated you more to do more for yourself in terms of your fitness and health?
Has it impact? So has the being in healthcare impacted my choice?
Yeah, in terms of because obviously you train regularly and everything, you take care of your health, your food, your nutrition and everything. Did that have an impact? Because obviously just because you work in healthcare or you're a doctor doesn't actually necessarily mean you probably
take care of yourself.
Yeah. So
I think that's true. I think a lot. I think that my natural inclination to that kind of lifestyle has had an impact on me choosing the route I've gone into. I think healthcare has made it easier in terms of knowledge. Like when it came to the personal training, just a course like half of it was like my first year at med school. Like there's a lot of anatomy, so that made things easier and smoother. But not all healthcare professionals take care of their own health anyway. And also it's really hard in the NHS to really spend time with people from that basic lifestyle medicine aspect, which is something was frustrating for me. So I don't have the time to chat to people about their diet and their exercise and all the nitty-gritty, their sleep, stress. I just don't have time. Even though I know that's an important conversation that's going to help them, I'm like, you have to eat good and exercise, but they have so much limited time that you can't really get to a point where you're influencing someone's life. Or I don't feel like I could. So that was definitely a motivator to do it outside of medicine, because I can actually spend time talking to people about and answering their questions properly. Whereas you're under a lot of pressure in the NHS, there's just not enough time or resources to really do, I think, preventative medicine properly. So we were often leading to reactive medicine, treating problems rather than preventing them.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now that like you're actually, but even when you was like being a GP and now obviously now just transition into PT, obviously there's a lot of myths in terms of like your health and fitness. There's stuff like, you know, if you want to lose weight, like, you know, you can't eat before, I mean, you can't eat after 7, you know, you can't eat after 7, you know, if you really want to lose weight, you have to go keto, you have to like all this kind of stuff. So like, in terms of like all of these myths and stuff, how do you basically communicate to people that, you know, this is not really how it is? You don't have to do the extremes in order for you to get the goals that you kind of want, because you see this stuff everywhere and people think like, okay, yeah, that's true, that's what I have to do. So with stuff like that, how do you kind of like go about it?
Just have to rubbish.
And do you kind of like back it up with like, you know,
I guess there's evidence, there's more evidence. I mean, there's actually a lot of evidence for both things. You'll find like things like keto, for example, there is a lot of actual evidence that, you know, it works, people lose weight on it. And I'm not anti-keto, I'm not pro-keto at all, but I'm not anti-keto, and some people in certain situations, it might suit them, it might be successful, and if they can work out whether they want to stay keto or transition to normal diet, that's absolutely fine. But it's not the be-all, end-all, it's really restrictive.
Which is sustainable.
And it's not necessarily sustainable. So most interventions, let's say, whether it's diet or exercise, if they're extreme or like a big change from your normal lifestyle, you have to think whether it works or not, are you actually going to be able to keep this up?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no point even trying keto if you're not going to be able to keep it up, because there might be evidence that it works and people lose weight, but if it makes your life hell, misery, you can't like enjoy anything, and it's really restrictive and you can't keep it up, what's the point? You have to do something realistic.
So similar to like the old Mythbusters situation that we're talking about, as a female PT and obviously a doctor, when dealing with clients and patients and whatever in the hospital, especially among women, the conversation is always usually that I find in the gym with women is like cardio versus weight situation. And like, I think maybe even once upon a time you probably posted something about how in the past where you used to just do cardio and then how you transition into weights. How do you communicate that with people as well? Or like, how do you get that message across that one is not necessarily better than the other, but at the same time it's equal to kind of involve the two?
It's I think it's still a very hard shift, like mindset culturally, that we are still like trying to change. I think that one is still quite deeply ingrained in society, in fitness culture for women. More people are embracing it. So, I mean, when I say it, embracing the fact that women can or should do resistance training and weightlifting, and that excessive cardio is not necessarily always beneficial. Again, with everything, it's dependent on the person. Like if you're a marathon runner, of course you're going to do excessive cardio. You need to train for your marathons and stuff. Blah, blah. But for general health, you don't need to necessarily run or do HIIT class 6 times a week every day to keep in shape. You don't need to put your body through that strain, and it is quite a lot of strain on the body, on the metabolism. Doesn't build any muscle, makes it harder to sustain. It's harder to sustain, and makes it harder actually for you to like maintain your weight, because often when you're excessively working out, if you gain weight, because your body's already used to that level of activity, you only have to increase it some more to try and lose more weight. So then you're like doing even more exercise, and it can push people into kind of an area where they struggle to like maintain their weight. But ultimately it's a hard one, because it's still, that one is still hard to get people to change their mind.
Because like, what would you say the balance is like? What for like the normal average person who they're not training for anything specific, but just more general health? What would you say the balance needs to be between cardio and weights?
Again, it is dependent on the person. There's no wrong or right answer. Like it could be, you don't have to do any cardio. You can do zero. If you don't want to do any, don't do any. Like
an example of no cardio.
Zero no cardio. Cardio, no. You know what I mean? there's no perfect balance. Like if you want to do zero cardio, do zero cardio. Just stay active.
Yeah.
Walk. That's absolutely fine. That's all you need to do. If you're generally active in the day, walking is like the most underrated exercise there is. That's fine. You don't actually need to do any cardio. If you're eating well, doing some weightlifting, you'll be fine. If you want to do cardio, it's fine. Yeah. I actually do, I mainly weight train maybe 3-4 times a week. And I do cardio because I actually enjoy it. So I'll go to like a class or I'll go for a run. But I'm not doing it. I'm doing it for enjoyment / health. I'm not really using it for physique. If I wanted to, I'd probably up it if I wanted to drop something. But then I've got the room to reduce it back to normal.
So how did you make the switch originally from when you was a cardio girl?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't actually remember it. My sister says she started weightlifting and I copied her. And I'm like, is that true? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I used to go to the gym. I remember I used to go to, I was in Bow at the time when I started going to cross trainer for like 45 minutes and do some abs. And then go.
Yeah.
Or jump off and do. All right.
And I was like, it's so funny. And now I'm like, no, I think even when I joined my current gym, I didn't go on a cardio machine for like the first year in the gym. I don't actually really remember it exactly, but I started weight training, and then I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think once you just get into it, you just start to enjoy it. It's just
then, but then you kind of like reading about it, and like obviously with Instagram was really good. You start following people who are weight training, learning more, teaching yourself more, seeing changes and results, and like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
And then you just enjoy it for the sake of enjoying it, whether because you're getting stronger, trying to, get PBs. Yeah.
And what's enough exercise for or the minimum amount of exercise someone should do, just like for general health day to day? And what should it be? Is it just if you do 30-minute walk every day, that's fine? Is that enough? Or is it just, how much exercise does one need to do to kind of just, I guess, be considered fit or try to be fit?
Yeah, I guess there's maybe 2 or 3 ways of answering it. One, the recommended guidance, which is 150 minutes moderate intensity exercise a week, which is an arbitrary-ish number, but that's what the number is proven to apparently have on the average population of any adults, so that's from 18 to like the end of life, to have health benefits. Anything less than that is suggestive doesn't have enough health benefits. Or that could be half 75 vigorous intensity exercise. And strength training twice a week is also recommended in the guidance. So really that's what everyone should aim for. However, the second way of looking at it is it really does depend on the person. So age, physical ability, medical illnesses, all those things are going to impact how much, how frequently you can exercise. I think for our audience, let's say, people who might be watching, I always say, I would usually recommend someone coming to me if they're like, oh, I want to start working out. I mean, based on your lifestyle, your schedule, if you can start with 3 times a week, maybe 2 to 3, if you're new to exercise, it's a good starting point. It's depending on what you're doing and doing some like full body weight training in those sessions. People who are more experienced trained exercisers will probably be like 3 to 5 times a week. And those people are committed to getting it, the sessions done. They're planning their life around the gym at that point and things like that. But for the average person, either new or, wants to exercise but has a life. Yeah. Usually 2-3 sessions a week, I would probably say.
That makes sense. That's like
But again, it is dependent on the person.
Yeah, I hear you. That's fine. And then in terms of like, even with studies, so the whole eating after 7, I feel like it's such a big thing because I still see it to this day, and I thought
Really?
I thought we got over that one. Yeah, I thought we got over it as well, but I see it, and I'm like, I think maybe when I see maybe like transformation posts or like stuff around that, and I'll see in the comments, I'm like, yeah, girl, like for you to do this, like you need to make sure, like, you know, don't go to sleep after you eat, or like eating after 8, like just don't do it, like
Well, interesting enough, I guess there's two ways of looking at it. One, it is crap because really it's your daily calorie intake that's going to have an impact. So if you don't eat after 8, but you've eaten in a massive surplus before, like you've eaten 2,000 calories over, it doesn't really matter what you do or don't eat after 8. Some people do find if they eat late, they feel bloated. It might affect their sleep. There is a suggestion that even though there's also evidence that protein at nighttime can help you sleep, before bed can help you sleep. But then there's also, I guess it starts moving into the intermittent fasting window of restricted eating windows. So not eating after 8 or not eating before 8 a.m., 10 a.m. and having these restricted windows can be useful in helping people control their calorie intake.
Right. Yeah.
So rather than saying it's actually making you lose weight, it's just making you have less time to eat.
Yeah.
So you're going to eat less. It's easier to eat less if you're trying to lose weight. If you're eating 24 hours a day, obviously, you can eat more. But if you can say I can only eat for 8 hours a day, perhaps then it might be more successful at having a lower calorie intake if that's your goal.
Yeah.
So meal timing can be useful in certain situations.
But it's not necessarily what makes you lose weight. It just kind of helps to maintain and control you on track. Intake, yeah, I think, I guess that's where it gets a bit, I think people confuse that of like, okay, if you eat less time, you're going to put on weight rather than it being you trying to...
Yeah, it doesn't directly lead to weight gain, no. Eating late. Eating too much in general is what leads to weight gain.
Yeah, that's true. And then in terms of like, if people wanted to... I keep somewhat losing weight, but even gaining weight as well, but how would you... Because I know there's stuff like BMI, BMR and stuff like that, apparently they're not as accurate and stuff. So what would be like a suggested way for people to like control, not control it, but decide how many calories that they need to eat either to maintain, to lose or to gain? How do they work that out? Because I know obviously it won't always be 100% accurate, but what is kind of the best approach?
The best way is just to track your food. So if you're maintaining your weight now, like your weight state, you want to lose or gain whatever, but your weight static now, track exactly what you're eating now for like a week or two, and work out your calories. That's your maintenance calories because you're maintaining it that way. Yeah. So then you can work it up or down from there. You can use a calculator to give you a estimation, but as you said, they're not 100% accurate. But you can use that to give you a ballpark to start from and work out how your body responds. But yeah, the best way is literally just to maintain your weight, track what you're eating at that weight, and then that's your maintenance calories. Yeah. And that's, even if you don't want to track, you can kind of do that a similar thing without counting the calories, but like looking at your meals and your portions, and then be like, well, if I'm eating this much, let me just cut a bit down, increase veg. You can do it without tracking calories if that's something you don't want to do. Yeah. It's probably less specific because numbers and data always help things be more precise. But that's probably the best way. The calculators are very useful to help start. And if you just want to get started and work out a calorie deficit, it's really, really useful. But if you're then not losing on that calorie deficit, maybe your actual estimated maintenance wasn't as high as you thought it was.
So I wanted to ask, how do you then deal with like, so among like the black community, for instance, especially regarding food and health. There's always a ongoing thing, especially like among African and even Caribbean families as well. Lots of the foods and stuff that we eat are quite dense, calorie dense and things like that. Loads of people seem to have issues with things like sickle cell, stress, high blood pressure and other heart related defects and things like that. So in relation to obviously exercise, food and eating, as a doctor and as a PT, probably more so as a doctor first, when dealing, or if you have dealt with aunties, uncles, mums, dads in the past, what kind of advice do you give to them, and do you attempt to like promote the whole gym thing, or not necessarily gym but more like activity stuff towards them?
No, definitely promote activity. I think it's definitely improving in our community. Is like there is, I can't remember the numbers at all, but there is a lot of evidence to show that black women are the least active group in the country compared to others. So it's really important to promote in this society and culture where people can be very inactive compared to actually, if you look at where we're from originally, where it's Africa or Caribbean, people are a bit more, I mean, outside of Lagos, people are a bit more active because there's just the lifestyle.
The life requires it.
You move more, whereas here we don't move as much. And I think even as well, the Asian population as well, I think a lot of our health problems are actually environmental. So they're brought on by exposure to things that, you know, basically. So there is a genetic maybe predisposition, but they're all triggered by the environment we live in, the food that we eat, the lack of exercise, etc., etc. So we need to change our environment or how we react to our environment to help prevent this illness. And particularly like Black African and Caribbean, we have really high rates of actually kidney disease and diabetes, more so than actually probably cardiovascular. And that a lot of that is can be prevented by exercise, so lowering your blood pressure, eating less for high fat, high salt foods, and exercise and maintaining your weight is really going to help reduce those the prevalence of those conditions. And I think in the older community, obviously, it's even less normal. Is it less normal to be active? And you have to explain to people, if you don't start doing this, you know, your blood pressure's going to go through the roof and you have a stroke. So you just have to be quite brutal sometimes. But it is really important in our community to start looking at it as normal. And particularly with the food, much more difficult to change because we... And understandably, I'm not like, course, you know, I love the food, but we do use a lot of oil, a lot of salt, and it's, we should actually, another conversation, it's very high carb, which, no, carbs are not the devil, but it's very high carb. So even like, my mum and dad are actually quite good, cool. Like my dad plays badminton and stuff. My mum goes for walks, and my mum tries to do exercise, like tries to do aerobics and stuff, which is funny. But they're like more active, and they're more aware. Like they'll go for walks every week together and stuff. But sometimes I look at the rice portion, I'm like, it's like 75% of the plate is rice.
I think that's what it is. The balance.
And just getting like they always have veg and stuff on the side, and it's just good and salad. But
like the other stuff dominate.
And they've definitely like over time reduced the portions. But before, even like when I look at the portions that I would eat of like rice and stuff, it's like a lot of rice. And carbs are not the devil at all, but they are the majority of our they're usually the highest portion of our food intake. So most people eat more carbs and then protein and fats. But if your carb intake is really high, you're not getting much protein, you're probably not getting much nutrition, not getting much veg. So it's worth just bringing it down and increasing the protein, just to have a bit more balance.
Yeah.
And looking at if those carbs are providing you with good nutrition. Is it just like lots of processed carbs, or are they like nutrition carbs with fiber, vitamins, nutrients? So that's probably what we need to look at more. But it's very hard because that is our traditional diet.
Yeah.
Like, I was just gonna say, like, in terms of, you said looking, so again, like, to everyday people, I mean, we're all everyday people to some degree, but what I mean is, like, how would you advise someone to basically pay more attention, but at the same time, because people like to make out like training, checking food, all of these things are so hard to accomplish when they're really not, but that's how people behave. So what would be like a easy, like 5-second way, or just, in your opinion, a way to kind of start the process of thinking about what you're doing a bit more every day, in terms of understanding what's good carbs and supposedly, I don't want to use the term bad carbs, but stuff that isn't providing you with as much nutrients and things like that as compared to something else? I
guess with the easiest thing with food is just look at portion sizes first.
Yeah.
So just look at like your plate. One, has it got veg on it? Veg. I would say like main meals you have veg and a decent size of protein, and then your carb intake. They say, like a
something like a fistful or above, yeah.
A pound is bigger than that.
Yeah, and that works. Supposed to work for your size, obviously, because you've got much bigger fists than me. So you can have more carbs.
I'm more like that.
So I think the what's the low hanging fruit, the quick wins: walk every day. Like either go for a walk or incorporate walking into your everyday life, whether it's how you get somewhere, how you do something. Have a bit of have a protein at every meal, like a lean meat, eggs, some dairy if you eat it, and reduce your carb intake and increase veggies. Those are the sort of low hanging fruits that you could just probably change without actively like putting in a lot of effort to like tracking and training. And sleep, which even I'm very guilty of not getting enough sleep. But when I do get good sleep, I see the difference.
Yeah. And then just going back to the study that you said in terms of black women being active, was there any kind of indicators to why we're less active? Like, what is causing it? Like, why are we not as active? Because I noticed that as well. And I think when I started training, I noticed that, obviously none of my friends were really, gym wasn't really something that we talk about, something to do or go to. It was just never really a thing. And obviously that's why I kind of like started the brand and stuff. But I think now it's kind of better. Like, more of my friends are kind of going gym, but sometimes it's more of just going to the gym for a certain period of time because you're working towards a holiday or a special event. It's not really seen as like something that's like a day-to-day of like being active. So like, what is it that's, are they not seeing the benefits of it, or is it just we're focusing on other stuff? Like, what exactly is stopping us from being active?
So to my knowledge, and that study or what data didn't actually give any reasons apart from like some speculations. I don't know exactly myself either. It's multifactorial, as I say. There's multiple factors. One is that probably, unfortunately, culturally, it's not ingrained from a young age as much as maybe of people, other races in this country. So it's not, you go to school to learn and to educate, but the focus is not always on exercise especially for the girls. The boys might get a bit more of a push, especially with football and stuff like that. Whereas the girls, even though you might do PE in school, like no one's really telling you it's important to do it. So it's just not something you start from a young age.
Yeah, I think even just saying PE as well. I remember like just PE. It wasn't like I enjoyed PE because I felt like I was just kind of sporty anyway. But in general, girls didn't just really like taking part in PE.
Yeah,
so
it's weird. I love PE.
Yeah,
it's the best. It's the best part of school and sports day. But it's a cultural thing. It starts from a young age, unfortunately, and it's something we need to change. We can change now going forward because we're the next generation of parents.
That's one thing I think. I think we're in a great position now, as who we are now, with all the things we're exposed to and whatnot, to make the biggest change possible, the biggest shift over from
massively.
what was given to us, basically, in the sense of like going back to like in the beginning, we asked you about whether your parents push you in a certain direction. There's probably going to be a lot less of that. People are seeing the value in like entertainment, creative things, like even other normal jobs as well. But the desire isn't always to be a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever. It could be an engineer working on a Formula One car. It could be very different. It could still be same value, but quite different in terms of the creativity of the position. So we're in a great position as adults now, young adults, to make the biggest change to come.
But
for the
even
future generation.
and even like how I said, my parents didn't push me actively, but it probably influenced my decisions because that's what I'm exposed to. The same way with exercise and like healthy eating. Your children will be influenced by what they're exposed to. So if you're exposing your child to you regularly working out and you eating healthy and thinking about this, even if you don't force it on them, they will see that as normal. They'll pick it up. So we have a big chance to influence, you know, how the next generation thinks about sports and health and fitness, and hopefully from that, if you can influence them from the start, you'll then see, you know, more black girls that are just more into exercise, and it's becoming more normal, and those numbers are going to start changing.
Yeah. And then like now, kind of, what do you think we can do to, I guess, improve those numbers? What can we do? Is like, obviously, you being a fitness professional, like what can we do to, you know, we asked someone else that was here and they said there's more, the government kind of needs to like step in and stuff, but for us as well, what can we do? Because I know obviously we create content and, you know, push out this information, but is there anything else that we can do? Like,
good question. I'm going to think. I think social media in general is a big powerful tool to like influence people. Literally, people are influencers.
Yeah.
So you can really influence people to see the benefits or become interested in, you know, this lifestyle or make those changes. I think that's probably the biggest tool we have for our generation, because you can capture so many people. I think the government, personally, I think their impact will probably affect the younger generation. If they're really going to do anything, it's going to be from the schools. They can't really, what are they really going to do for like people? 20 to 30 year olds? They're not going to force people to go to the gym.
Do you think you personally have a voice to impact people?
I hope.
The reason why I say that obviously is because I know you've done a few things in the past in terms of publications and paper and things like that, and even you're working with a company now, right? What's it called?
Barbell.
Barbell,
yeah. So in terms of that, like, why do you think they reached out to you? And with that being said, do you now not think that you have that
it's my responsibility. I think yes, I think I do. I play a part in the spreading the word, as you guys are all in this together. I play a part in it, and I think because my background, I'm literally all day I'm telling people about their health, so it makes sense for people to ask me to tell more people about their health. So I think, and also being black, doctor, PT, there's not very many of me. So in terms of influence and visibility, representation, people don't see that so much, so it will help influence more people. Like, it's more of unfortunately it's like a selling point / fortunately. But I mean, even at work, even in general practice, at work I get people coming in, it's like, oh, it's so nice to see a black female doctor, like, and I'm like, cool.
It is nice.
I'm like, oh, it's nice. I'm like, thanks. I don't know what to say. But so people respond to it. If you're a black female and you come in to see a black female doctor, you're going to respond to it. So we need representation. And that's why it's important.
How did that connection come about, the barbell? The stuff before that as well.
I think I knew one of the girls from the gym who is one of the barbells team, and she just mentioned me to their marketing team, and they just reached out to me.
It's nice.
And they're like, I mean, they're great. I mean, and I was already a fan of their bars, so I was like, yeah, easy, I'll definitely join. Yeah. And they've got a good community. They've got nice products. They've got like a really big reach. Like they're in all over Europe, America. So why not join in? Yeah. Spread the word.
Yeah. I wanted to say, so I don't want to talk too much about other brands and things like that, but at the same time, I'm always, especially now these days, post 2020 and everything to do with like race and things like that, I'm always very, like, no one's approaching me, so it's fine, but I'm always looking at brands, especially when they approach black people, male or female. I'm thinking of one person in particular, but don't worry about that. But I always think about it. But then you, as the person being approached, how do you think about the situation? Because I feel like, again, a lot of these brands and people just contact, you know, whoever or a select small number of people for the sake of looking a certain way, obviously. Like post 2020 or whatever year it was, you know, you can look at their board of members or users or staff and it all looked one way. And then after 2020, you know, you've fit a quota, you've added to the thing. How do you feel about not just the ones that have in contact with you, but people who've contacted you in general over years or things like that?
I see the tokenism, I guess what you'd call it. I think it's a catch-22 or a double-edged sword. It's tokenism. It's sometimes virtue signaling. There's no real feeling or intent. What's the word? They're not genuine behind it. They're doing it because we need to look like we've got some black or brown people on the team, so X, Y, Z, let's invite you on. But they're not really there for pushing, you know, pro-black or for, what's the word, inclusivity, really.
Yep.
However, on the flip side, because they even just have us being in some of those positions or rooms we need to get our foot in the door somewhere.
It's like whether they mean it or not.
Yeah, we need to use the opportunity.
Positive effect.
Yeah. And it allows us to use the opportunity to, whether it's, you know, to spread the word, to represent, to get, you know, reach more people, to give representation, but also within the industries or the companies, organisations that contact you to try and like make change, make suggestions. People can, you know, you need to get in somehow.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of both, really. It's good and bad. Yeah. I was going to say something else about it, but I can't really remember. Yeah, it's good and bad.
Yeah, that's good. And then also with your women's health contributions as well. So how did that come about, and how do you did they tell you, like, okay, we've got this topic, can you write about this, or is you just kind of have to decide on something?
Yeah, usually they so actually I don't know how they first contacted me, I think during lockdown, and again it was probably a bit post 2020 that time. They just contacted me for to write something. I can't even remember, just like to write a comment on something. They messaged me on Instagram. Again, I think social media is really useful because you're exposed to so many people. Yeah. And if you want to reach out to brands, you know, you can, but they can also reach out to you. So that happened then. And then I think I wrote one thing, really excited. And once you are on one person's list, like they'll reach out to you again, and then someone else reaches out to you again, and then they just will send you requests to write features regularly. Sure. It's not a regular gig, actually. Like I'm not like a regular writer, but they contacted me and I regularly to do stuff. So.
Do you enjoy doing that? Because I get you to do some stuff in DAMIHOW as well, which I love.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, you know, you can see your name on the magazine.
Are you still doing that blog stuff?
Yeah, I am, but sometimes I'm like,
I need to do some more.
Yeah, so Folu's done, you've done as well, but
I was alright.
It's trying to find different people to contribute as well from different perspectives and stuff. I am trying to do it more. I've kind of like ease down, because sometimes I don't know what topic to thingy. So what I was going to do, it's funny because I was supposed to do this a couple of days ago, I haven't done it yet, but I was going to send out kind of like a form to say, you know, what kind of things do you want to know, what kind of blog stuff would you be interested in. But yeah, I really enjoy the blog section, because sometimes it's not just about, you know, selling products to people. Again, being a fitness brand, fitness kind of platform, it's great to be able to
the community and awareness.
Yeah, because if I'm promoting, you know, feeling confident in fitness, there needs to be something outside of the clothes, and being able to provide guidance and information from obviously
how to get there.
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely want to do more of them. I just need to figure out what topics people actually are interested in.
Like
and
also
stuff
like so
there's just so many as well. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes when I ask you to do it, and you're like, oh, what specific? I'm like,
I need like it's generic down, because it's so much like what you just. But it's good to get feedback from what people
actually want to see. Yeah.
So outside of becoming a doctor, amazing PT, and a writer for the pages of the world, what would you say is your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement, going on TV in Channel 4 with Dr. Michael Mosley.
Oh my gosh, you did that, yeah. That was like, was that 20? Like
that was 21. That was 21. That was last year.
I don't think I got to watch it, but I saw you post it. That was sick, yeah.
Yeah, that's my greatest achievement.
Yeah, no, that's sick.
I was really proud.
Well, that's a good one.
I'm going to post that soon, actually, remind everybody that was
post it, you're the TV, that's huge.
Yeah, that's definitely my biggest achievement.
How did that happen?
Yeah, they literally just
things just be happening for you.
Yeah, so random. What's they called? Production company reached out to me, and then they were just did some interviews, auditions, I guess actually. And then they were like, "Yeah, I want you to do it," and actually, it was really, really good. And the contributors, the people on the show, did so well. Like, I mean, it's actually probably not exactly what I prescribe it for, my normal message, because actually it was quite an intense thing. So they had to do like a 4-week diet from Michael Mosley, because he does a lot of what would you call it? He does quite a lot of the fast diet. So he does intermittent fasting and low calories for like 2 days a week.
Yeah,
and then I had to do this exercise program for them, and so I gave them. We did group workouts on Zoom. They were doing training and steps. And they had the diet from Michael Mosley. But they all smashed it. One of them lost 10 kg or something. It was ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, yes.
That's amazing.
We're so bad if they all did rubbish. No one lost any weight.
Yeah.
But they were all, I mean, that's quite an extreme picture, and they were all extreme cases, very overweight. Most of them are a bit older, really poor diet lifestyle. So when you do that for 2 weeks and you suddenly start doing 10 to 14,000 steps a day, and also when you're being filmed and people put in a lot of effort, they go for it. It's much different when you're on TV.
Of course.
If someone says you need to lose some weight, we're filming you for the next 4 weeks, you're probably going to lose some weight.
Yeah. You're
putting in all the effort. People were taking time off work to make sure they could do this program. So it was successful. But yeah, that's definitely my biggest achievement. That was fun.
Nice.
That's sick. I want to be on TV.
No,
I don't think I do. Do I? I do.
No, it's good. I'd definitely do it again. I don't know. It's just time, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
No time.
Yeah. No, that's sick. And then with that, who would you say inspires you? As outside of your friends, I feel like your parents seem to be a very big bit of an inspiration. But outside of that, is there anyone else that inspires you, or is there something specific that inspires you?
My family definitely inspired me. I would say that my mum and dad, obviously, are G's for what they've done. I mean, I'm not we're not. When the older you get, the more you realise how hard your parents had to work.
Yeah.
And how much they sacrificed to because now I'm living a life, and that's all because of everything that they do.
Yeah.
My sister, she's probably one of my best friends, but also with fitness as well. She's also getting into training, and she loves it, and she's 10 times stronger than me, so she's an inspiration.
That's good.
outside of that, who else inspires me? It's a weird one, actually. I can't actually think. I don't want to say anyone like Serena Williams or Michelle
so
Obama.
mad in my head. That's
I mean, they obviously they do inspire me, but I feel like it's a bit
Distant.
far.
Yeah, it's kind of like you
Like,
can be like,
of
oh, that's
course,
great. Like, you've done amazing.
yeah.
That's like, oh, like give you a
Who
little bit of
wouldn't
motivation or
Serena-
something, but not.
Who wouldn't Serena
Yeah.
Williams not inspire?
Yeah,
Like she's
yeah.
amazing, but she's amazing,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, like I'm like trying to think of someone a bit closer to me who I'm thinking. Oh, there was a GP at my workplace who's now retired, and she's probably one of the best doctors ever. She's so nice. Patients loved her. She knew everything. She helped everyone. She was an inspiration.
That's good.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. She's now retired and now she left me.
Random one. Would you call yourself successful?
I guess it depends on what. I mean, this is a very.
That's what I'm saying.
You,
very
for your
vague
definition of
yourself.
success,
No.
successful, would
No.
you?
No, I think I'm doing all right, but not successful. And even then, I mean, it's difficult. I don't think I've even decided my measurements for success 100%.
Yeah.
I think they're changing a bit, but I still feel a bit like it's got some stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in saying you've got some stuff to do, so like, to the end of the year, for next year, what's like one thing you want to achieve or something you're kind of like working towards?
Definitely with my client, like growing more of a customer base, because I've actually, as of like last week, actually dropped a bit more of my NHS work, so I'm doing a bit less because I want to do more fitness stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually have to do some work now. I actually have to put in the effort once. I've kind of got. I'm not, and I never want to stop general practice completely. I actually do enjoy it, and it does complement the role well. But I'd like to swing the balances a bit more. So I've dropped a bit. I really want to grow more of a client base, so few more in-person clients, and more like online community of clients to train. So like doing online programs and having like a online group of people who are training with me. That's what I want to do, I guess, in the next year, so that that's something that's going and sustainable, rather than at the moment now it's a bit ad hoc.
When it gets to a point where it's, I
want something going, and then maybe even drop a bit more NHS work and do a bit more. Then we'll see. That's what I want to. That's the main short-term goal. Which I'm pushing myself to do because I'm officially earning less money, so I need to make some money, some more money somewhere else.
Yeah, I feel you. No, that's great. It's been amazing. Like, you've always been so supportive of DAMIHOW, and I'm just happy with everything you're doing. I hope it all goes well.
I actually recorded a workout with my sister in the tops the other day, so I'll post it soon.
Love that. But no, it's been amazing. I look forward to everything you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's been great having you.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.
Yeah.